Many people are turning to drugs like Ozempic to try to lose some weight. It is a trend we've told you about a couple of weeks ago, but now the FDA is warning consumers to avoid off-brand versions of the drug. Everybody is wanting this stuff.
That's why we have Dr. Kohli back with us today to talk about the FDA's warning. So what's behind the FDA deciding to get in front of this now?
Two things. What Kim said, everybody in my clinic is asking for it. And the second is the pandemic created a bit of a drug shortage, in which case many people were turning to sort of compounding pharmacies, which are pharmacies that can mix it up locally for you. And now the FDA is realizing they're getting reports of adverse events occurring from people who have been using these sort of off-brand versions of semaglutide or Ozempic from these compounding pharmacies.
So how do you do this as a doctor when someone walks in and they've seen the commercials for whatever it is, let's say it's in this case Ozempic, and they say, I want this. How do you talk them off the ledge, if you will, and say this is or isn't for you?
Well, first you assess them. So it is a great medication. I think it is a game changer in 2023 for diabetics, for people with clinical obesity that is a threat to their life. In other words, their body mass index is greater than 30 or it's greater than 27, and they have other health-related problems due to obesity like hypertension, diabetes, or high cholesterol. It is not for the person looking to shed 5 or 10 pounds. For the summer, for a wedding, to get into a bathing suit, because there are real risks to these medications. And you have to stay on them forever. So think about it like a blood pressure medicine or cholesterol medicine. You don't just take it for a few months to get it down. You have to stay on it for the long term.
So it's sort of like when you do a fad diet and you lose a bunch of weight. The minute you go back to eating real food, it's just coming back.
Not really. So with Ozempic, we're seeing a little difference. So about a third of people, even if they stop the medication, their behavior has changed enough that they've sort of adapted and they keep the weight
so
off.
Then it's kind of worth it. But it's okay. Ozempic, Wegovy, I mean, they're the same?
Ozempic and Wegovy are both the same drug, semaglutide. Ozempic was marketed for diabetics at a target dose of 2.0, and Wegovy was marketed for weight loss at a slightly higher target dose. So it's the same medication, it's the packaging and the dose that's a little bit different. So when someone says that I'm using Ozempic for weight loss, I mean, it's sort of off-label because that particular marketing branding was for the diabetic indication, but that same medication is available for weight loss.
People hear weight loss and stop listening, but what are the side effects or long-term problems that we're concerned about or even seeing?
Well, this drug is a wonder drug because it doesn't have a ton of side effects. It's pretty well tolerated. But in individuals who take it, they say that the nausea and the changes in their bowel habits, either constipation or diarrhea, can be intense. In fact, I have patients who tell me that if they're taking the medication and they eat too much, they'll actually throw up.
So intense for the duration of using the drug, or do you adapt to it?
So the way we give the drug is we start it at a tiny dose, and then you use that dose for a few weeks, then you up titrate to the next dose. And then if you start having more nausea, we could back down, we could wait a little bit. So it's increased over several weeks to the target dose. And presumably that gives your body time to adjust to the nausea. But it can also change some of your, addictive behaviors, some of the other behaviors. Long-term data, Tom, we don't have because this is a new medication. Now we have a few years of data, but if we're talking about putting populations on this for decades, we really need to keep watching to see if any safety signals emerge.
So if a person were like just researching or maybe just scrolling on social media and saw, well, maybe my doctor, Dr. Kohli, won't give me what I want. I could take Berberine. It's a supplement. Does it work?
This has been trending all over TikTok.
Yeah,
so Berberine is being called
TikTok.
That's right.
I've seen it a few times.
The doctors nowadays have to keep up with TikTok. So nature's Ozempic. This is very clever marketing. So Berberine is derived from plants. It's been around for some time. It has many of the same effects in our body that Ozempic does, increased insulin sensitivity, some weight loss. But in terms of efficacy, we're talking about a drop, 0.25 to 1 of your BMI, as opposed to 20% of your body weight with Ozempic. In terms of side effects, we're talking about the same side effects, nausea, but in animals, it can cause changes in the size of the liver and the spleen.
Oh, that's not good.
And it's not FDA regulated because it's a supplement, so we don't know how it's made.
Berberine getting a thumbs down.
Berberine getting 2 thumbs down
from Dr.
Kohli.
Oh, good thing you have 2. Dr. Kohli, it's always good to see you. Thanks for bringing us up to date, as always.